yo-yo toy. A simple string tied to weighted discs that has been flung around by children and adults for over 2,500 years. The true origin of the yo-yo is unknown. However, there are depictions of a young boy and a yo-yo on a vase from Greece that dates back to 500 BC. Until about 20 years ago, the yo-yo has remained basically unchanged. Throughout this time, the yo-yo spread across China, Europe, and America. And in 1789, the yo-yo took over France. The French saw the yo-yo as a stress relief. In fact, Napoleon and his troops were seen playing with this string stress relief prior to the Battle of Waterloo. The term yo-yo was first used in a Scientific America article on the toys of the Philippines. The term yo-yo is the English version for come come or to return in the Philippine language. This article also stated that the yo-yo was the national pastime of the Philippines. So it's no wonder that a Filipino man by the name of Pedro Flores moved to the United States in 1928 and opened the Pedro Flores Company. This company was the start of the commercial success of the yo-yo in America. He also had a great idea, and this was to tie the string loosely around the axle of the yo-yo, allowing it to remain at the bottom of the string or sleep. And this opened up new avenues for the yo-yo because it was no longer a simple up and down toy. In 1929, Donald Duncan purchased the Pedro Flores Company from Pedro Flores, and this is when the yo-yo became an American icon. In 1946, Duncan moved the company to Luck, Wisconsin, and in 1965, Duncan lost the company in a legal battle against the term yo-yo. The company was later purchased by Flambeau Plastics, along with a Duncan name brand. Duncan continues to make the world's most famous yo-yos, but their newer versions take a new spin. With new innovations from materials to ball bearings, the advantages have opened up new possibilities to enthusiasts and hobbyists alike. Some of the major advances and changes in the yo-yo start with the materials they're made out of. Originally, the yo-yo was made from wood, and the wood unfortunately caused uneven spin as well as inconsistent weight. So in the 1960s, yo-yo manufacturers began making yo-yos out of plastic. And today's yo-yos are made out of many different materials. Some of them include aluminum and wood, as well as different plastics. Some are even made from copper and gold and tungsten alloys. Recently, companies began making yo-yos out of a low-friction, high-durability plastic called Durlin, which is used for hip and joint replacements. And for the environmentally friendly folks out there, they even make a bamboo yo-yo. The biggest change in yo-yos over time, or over the last 20 years, has been in the change from a fixed axle to a ball bearing. In 1978, a dentist and yo-yo celebrity, Tom Kuhn, developed the first 3-in-1 take-apart yo-yo, and this allowed the users to take the yo-yo apart and change the axle inside. Then in 1980, Yomega patented the Yomega Brain that had a centrifugal clutch trans axle. And this depended on weights inside of the yo-yo to bring the yo-yo back up the string instead of the inertia from throwing it down and then tugging on the string to bring it back up. And most significantly is the ball bearing. And when this was introduced, the friction between the yo-yo and the string was greatly reduced and allowed for almost infinite spin of the yo-yo, and tugging on it wouldn't bring it back up. Yo-yoers used this to their ability and came up with a wide range of new tricks. Some of these tricks that were now possible with the ball bearing were things like sleeping, which was possible before, but now you can do it for a lot longer. Whip. A whip is where the string is whipped around. This wasn't possible with a fixed axle because that would cause the yo-yo to come back up. And slacks. And a slack is where the yo-yo sleeps on the string while the yo-yoer manipulates the slack portion of the string. Another big change was in the shape. The original shape of the yo-yo was the imperial, which is like this, and this was the original shape made by Pedro Flores. Now we have the modified versions as well as H shapes and butterflies. And these different shapes allow the yo-yoer to do different kinds of tricks. Some of these tricks include things like looping. The most common looping trick is around the world. There's string tricks, and this is where the yo-yo is manipulated back onto the string in a variety of ways. And this is an example of a string trick called the matrix. And then there is freehand, and freehand is where the yo-yoer doesn't actually have hold of the yo-yo itself, but a counterweight is placed where your finger generally goes. And then the last kind is off string, and as the name suggests, this is where the yo-yo actually leaves the string. And sometimes lands on it. All of this is just scratching the surface when it comes to the modern day yo-yo. With history stretching back over 2,500 years, it's amazing to think that the yo-yo still endears adults and children across the world. Does anybody have any questions?
Not me.
I missed.
No, stop the camera.